Dear students, today we can see the topic structural organization in animals. In that, we are going to see about the animal tissues. See, in the previous chapters, we have come across both unicellular as well as multicellular organisms which belong to the animal kingdom, isn't it? In unicellular organisms, all the functions like digestion, respiration, reproduction, all are performed by a single cell, isn't it? But if you take a multicellular animal, all these functions are carried out by different groups of cells, isn't it? The body of a simple organism like Hydra is made up of different types of cells, but their number can be in thousands. That is, their number of cells is limited, isn't it? But if you take a huge organism like a human being, human beings are composed of billions of cells in their body which can perform various functions. Okay, so now we can see what is a tissue. In a multicellular organism, the cells are organized to form tissues, isn't it? So what do you mean by a tissue? A tissue means a group of similar cells along with the intercellular substances which perform a specific function is said to be a tissue. So what is a tissue? A group of similar cells with the intercellular substances, that is the substance which are present in between the cells together which perform a function is said to be as a tissue. We have already seen, you might have already studied about the different types of tissues present in the organisms, isn't it? If you see the complex animals, their body consists of 4 basic type of tissues. Okay, the body of complex animals are mainly made up of 4 basic types of tissues like the epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and the neural tissue. In a multicellular organism, the cells are organized to form tissues, isn't it? These tissues are organized to form certain organs. Okay, these tissues are organized in specific proportion and pattern to form an organ. Like we can say the stomach, lung, heart, kidney, etc. These are the examples of organs. So these organs are formed by the joining of different tissues in specific proportion or in particular pattern. Okay, so they join together to form the organs like stomach, lungs, heart, kidney, etc. Okay, now when 2 or more such organs perform a common function by their physical and chemical interaction. Okay, if 2 or more organs perform a particular function by their interaction, physical or chemical interaction, then they form the organ system. So how the organ system is formed? When different organs interact with each other physically or chemically, they form the organ system. For example, digestive system, respiratory system, etc. Okay, now the cells, tissues, organs and organ systems, they divide their work. Okay, they split up the work in a way that exhibits division of labor. Okay, they do division of labor. What do you mean by that division of labor? All the work will be divided and it will be performed by different tissues or organs. Okay, all the work in an organism will be divided. Division of labor. Labor means the work. That will be divided and different tissues or different organs will take up a particular function. Okay, or particular work. Okay, and contribute to the survival of the body as a whole. So if an organism or if a body has to survive, then the work has to be done by different tissues or different organs. Okay, thus the organism can survive. Okay, so that is about the about how the functions are performed in a multicellular organism. Now the animal tissues are classified into 4 types. They are the epithelial, connective, muscular tissue as well as the neural tissue. So these are the 4 basic tissues which are present in animals. Okay. First we can see about the epithelial tissue. Epithelial, epi means upon, above, isn't it? So it will be forming a layer upon our body surface. That's why it is named as epithelial tissue. Okay, and this tissue is having a free surface. Okay, the epithelial tissue is having a free surface, and this free surface will be facing either a body fluid or the outside environment. Okay, so if it is on our outer body surface, means we can say it will be facing an outside environment, or if it is inside our body, it will be facing a body fluid. Okay, a body fluid. So we can say it is having, the epithelial tissue is having an outer surface which will be either facing a body fluid or it will be facing the outer environment. Okay, so we can say it provides a covering or lining on some parts of the body. Okay, it provides a covering or a lining on some parts of the body. Okay, now when we see the cells of this epithelial tissue, the cells are compactly packed with a little intercellular matrix. What do you mean by it is compactly packed? It is closely packed with each other. Okay, and in between the cell there is very little intercellular matrix. Intercellular means in between the cells. Matrix means the substance which are produced or secreted by the cells. Okay, which is not having any cells. It is not differentiated into a cell, but a matrix, a fluid or a semi-fluid, jelly-like substance will be there in between the cell. That forms the matrix. Okay. So the cells are compactly packed with little intercellular matrix. Okay, and we can say these epithelial cells will be lining, or it will be always resting on a basement membrane. Okay, it will be resting on a basement membrane. A basement substance or a membrane will be there. Above that only this epithelial cells will be seen. Okay, now this epithelial tissues can be of 2 types. It is simple epithelium or compound epithelium. So 2 types of epithelial tissues are present. They are simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Now what is simple epithelium? It is composed of a single layer of cell. Okay, it is formed of a single layer of cells, and the function of the simple epithelium is it forms a lining on the body cavities or in the ducts and the tubes. So it can form a lining. Lining means it forms a layer. Okay, normally a single layer. Okay, simple epithelium is formed of a single layer of cell. It forms a single layer surrounding at the body cavities or the duct or tube. For example, if you take the blood capillary, very minute tubes, isn't it? So it is surrounded by a single layer of cell. That is, the simple epithelium forms a single layer, normally lining the body cavities, ducts and the tube. Okay. Now, if you see the compound epithelium, it is formed of many layers of cell, isn't it? It is formed of 2 or more layers of cell, and it is having protective function. As it is formed of many layers of cell, it performs the function of protection, as it is seen in our skin. In our skin is formed of many layers of epithelium which gives protection to our body. Okay. Now on the basis of their structural modification of the cells of the epithelium, this epithelial tissue is classified into that is especially the simple epithelium. It is classified into different types like squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium and columnar epithelium. Okay, so on what basis it is classified? Based on the structural modification of the cells, the simple epithelium is classified into squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium and columnar epithelium. in simple epithelium, first we can see the squamous epithelium. So the picture what you are seeing is the squamous epithelium. It is made up of a single layer of cell. Okay, it is made up of a single layer of cell, and the cells are very thin nature. Okay, the single layer is very thin in nature, and it is formed of flattened cells. Here you can see the cells which are flattened. This is the squamous epithelium in a little enlarged manner. You can see in this diagram. Okay, so here you can see the cells are flattened cells, and you can see they are not having a regular structure, isn't it? It is having irregular boundaries. The boundaries, the end, the surface of that of these squamous epithelial cells are having irregular boundaries. And where these cells are found? They are found on the walls of blood vessels and air sacs of lungs. Okay, in the wall of blood vessels it is seen, that is especially in the capillaries you can see that. Then in the air sacs of the lungs, inside the lungs, the very minute tubular structure is called the alveoli or the air sacs. There also it can be found. And what is its function? It forms a diffusion boundary. What do you mean by that diffusion boundary? It forms a surface through which the substances can pass through, can diffuse through. Okay, so its function is it forms a diffusion boundary through which the substances can diffuse. That is, in the blood vessels, the oxygen and carbon dioxide can diffuse as well as, that is especially in the air sacs, only oxygen and carbon dioxide can diffuse, and in the blood vessels, the blood capillaries, the oxygen and carbon dioxide can diffuse, as well as various nutrients can diffuse, and waste materials can also diffuse. Okay, so this is about the squamous epithelium. Now next is the cuboidal epithelium. The cuboidal epithelium is composed of a single layer of cube-like cells. So here you can see the cells are cube in shape, isn't it? So it is formed of a single layer of cube-like cells. Okay, and where they are found? It is found in the ducts of glands and the tubular parts of nephrons in the kidneys. Okay, so where is it seen? In the duct of glands. So the glands which are having the ducts where the secretions are stored. So in such ducts like the salivary gland or pancreatic gland, these are all glands with ducts. So in the duct of that glands and the tubular part of the nephron in the kidneys. In kidneys, the functional unit of kidney is the nephron, and it is formed of tubular structure. In that tubular part of the nephron also this cuboidal epithelium is found. And what is its function? The main function is secretion and absorption. Okay, the function of this is secretion and absorption. That is, you can see in the duct, in the glands, their function is secretion. So it helps in the secretion in the duct also. Okay, then absorption. See, if you take the tubular part of the nephron, the filtrate which is formed, which is produced inside that nephron by the filtering of the blood, will be having almost all the nutrients in it, isn't it? So all that nutrients will be reabsorbed. Okay, and the waste material can be secreted. So we can say the main function of this cuboidal epithelium is secretion and absorption. Now, if you see the proximal convoluted tubule of this nephron, okay, it is having two convoluted tubules, proximal and distal convoluted tubule. So in the proximal convoluted tubule of the nephron, if you see, it is having microvilli. Microvilli means what? On the surface of this epithelium, minute hair-like structures will be there. So that we can say it as microvilli. Okay, so it also helps in movement of the substance through the convoluted tubule, or absorption of substance in the proximal convoluted tubule. Okay. Next is the columnar epithelium. The columnar epithelium is having long cells, isn't it? It is composed of a single layer of tall and slender cells. You can see the cells here, they are long, isn't it? The cells are long in nature. So they are formed of tall and slender cells, okay, or pillar-like cells we can say. And the nuclei are located at the base. You see here the dark colored structure which is seen is the nucleus, and where is it present? At the base of the cell. Okay, so the nuclei are present at the base of the cell, and their free surface, this is the free surface. You can see here minute cilia are present, isn't it? Outgrowths are there. These outgrowths are called as what? Cilia. So on the outer surface of this cells, the minute hair-like structures called microvilli are found. Okay, and where this columnar epithelium are found, they are seen in the stomach. They are found lining the stomach and the intestine. So there this columnar epithelium is present, and again they help in secretion and absorption. Okay, so as they are present in the stomach as well as in the intestine, they help in absorption of the food material as well as secretion of the enzymes into it. Okay, so this is about the columnar epithelium. See, when we see the columnar and the ciliated epithelium, sometimes they bear cilia on their free surface, isn't it? The previous slide also I said about that. Okay, so if this columnar or cuboidal cells are having cilia on their free surface, they are said to be a ciliated epithelium. Okay, so this cuboidal or the columnar epithelium with the cilia on their free surface are called ciliated epithelium. So what is their function? Their function is to move any particles or the mucus in a specific direction over the epithelium. Okay, so it will be pushing or moving the substances or mucus in one direction, in a particular direction over the epithelium. Okay, mainly they are found in the inner surface of hollow organs like bronchioles and fallopian tubes. So where they are found? They are found on the inner surface of the hollow organs like what? The bronchioles as well as fallopian tube. Bronchioles, you know, the bronchi, the trachea, you know, the windpipe, it divides into two bronchi and it enters into the lungs. Inside the lungs, the bronchi will be dividing into minute tubes called bronchioles, which further divide to form the alveoli or the air sac. So these bronchioles are lined by this cuboidal, ciliated epithelium, which helps to move the mucus in a direction, in a particular direction, that is towards the outside. That is when we cough, the mucus will be coming out, isn't it? That is due to the movement of the ciliated epithelium present in the bronchioles. Then same way in the fallopian tubes it is present. What is fallopian tube? It is the duct which is present in the female reproductive system, which is present close to the ovary, isn't it? See, there is no direct connection between the ovary and the fallopian tube. So the ovum which is released from the ovary will be released outside the ovary, which will be collected by this fallopian tube. So the mouth of that fallopian tube is lined by this ciliated epithelium. The cilia will be moving in such a way that it will direct the ovum which is released from the ovary into the fallopian tube. Thus the ovum will be entering into the fallopian tube. For that, this ciliated epithelium is useful. Okay. Next is the glandular epithelium. See, some of the columnar or cuboidal cells, they get specialized for secretion and are said to be as the glandular epithelium. Okay, they get specialized for secretion. They take up the function of secretion and they become glandular epithelium. Mainly there are two types of glands, that is unicellular and multicellular glands. Okay, mainly the glands can be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular means they are formed of a single cell. Okay, the gland is formed of a single cell. You can see this single cell can act as a unicellular gland. Okay, it is formed of a single cell, or if it is multicellular, it is formed of many cells. Here you can see this is a multicellular gland. You can see many cells are present inside it, isn't it? So this is a multicellular gland. So the glandular epithelium is of two types based on the number of cells present in them. It can be unicellular gland or it can can be multicellular gland. Unicellular gland, example, we can say goblet glands. Goblet cells. Okay, these are single celled glands. Normally they are seen in the alimentary canal. Multicellular glands are formed of a large number of cells, a cluster of cells. For example, we can say the salivary gland is an example of multicellular glands. Okay, now based on their secretion, mode of pouring of their secretion, that is where they pour, how they pour or where they pour, the glands are classified into two types. What are they? They are exocrine glands and endocrine glands. Okay, on the basis of their mode of pouring, we can classify the glands into two types. They are exocrine glands and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands, exo means outside, isn't it? It means like that. So actually, what is exocrine glands? These are glands with ducts. Okay, glands with ducts are called as exocrine glands. It is not that the secretions are poured outside. Okay, glands with duct are called exocrine glands. For example, we can say they secrete mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, digestive enzymes and other cell products. So all this are secreted by the exocrine glands. Okay, we are having mucus gland which secrete the mucus. In our hollow organs, mucus cells are there. Mucus glands are there that secretes mucus. Then saliva is secreted by the salivary gland. Earwax is secreted by the wax gland present in our ear. Oil is secreted by our oil glands present on the skin. Milk is secreted by the mammary gland. And digestive enzymes are secreted by the various digestive glands like liver, pancreas, etc. Okay. So these are secreted by the exocrine glands and these are stored in the ducts or tubes, and from them only it will be released whenever it is required. Okay, that's why it is said to be as exocrine glands. Now if you see the endocrine glands, these are ductless glands. That means they do not have any duct. That is, they are ductless glands. And their secretions are called as hormones. Okay, the secretions of endocrine glands are called hormones and they will be directly secreted into the blood, into the surrounding fluid. Okay. So which fluid is present in the surrounding environment, there it will be secreted. Normally the blood will be there. Okay, or cerebrospinal fluid. Mainly the blood will be the fluid or the interstitial fluid or the tissue fluid, we can say. The fluid which is present in between the cells, the tissue fluid. So in that fluid it can be released. Okay, so that we can say it as endocrine glands. Okay. So here you are able to see the single celled gland, okay, unicellular gland, and this is the multicellular gland. Okay. Next is the compound epithelium. Now when we see the compound epithelium, it is made up of more than one layer of cells. Okay, many layers of cells are there. So they have limited role in secretion and absorption. Mainly they are not involved in secretion and absorption, but their main function is to provide protection against the chemical and the mechanical stresses. That is, these organs are the part of the body which is exposed to the external environment or exposed to various chemical substances. Okay, so they need protection. So the main function of this compound epithelium is to provide protection against such chemical as well as mechanical stresses. Okay, heat, cold, everything will be there in our environment. So our body has to be protected from that. For that the compound epithelium helps. That is, our skin is formed of the compound epithelium. So the compound epithelium can help in such chemical and mechanical stresses. Okay, so they cover the dry surface of the skin or the moist surface of the buccal cavity or the pharynx, inner lining of the ducts, ducts, or we can say the salivary gland, pancreatic duct, etc. Okay, so in all this inner lining, what is present? This compound epithelium is present. So even if one layer of cell is damaged, the tissue will not be completely, the epithelium will not be completely damaged. The underlying layers, the next layers will be again producing the cells, and thus it forms a continuous stretch of epithelium over the surface. Okay, so this is about the compound epithelium. The diagram which you are seeing here is the compound epithelium. You can see it is formed of many layers of cells, isn't it? Now, we can see about the cell junction. See, all the cells in the epithelium are held together with little intercellular material in between them. Isn't it? Already I have told that in between the cells, little intercellular material is there, which is formed by the secretion of these cells. Okay, and these secretions will form the intercellular material, which will provide specialized junctions, okay, between the cells of the epithelium. Okay, so specialized junctions will be providing structural and functional links between the tissues, between the cells of the epithelium as well as between the other tissues. Okay, we can say there are three types of cell junctions found in the epithelium and the other tissues. What are the three types of cell junctions? They are the tight junction, adhering junction, and gap junction. I think you are able to follow what is the junction. That is, between the epithelium and other tissues, certain junctions will be formed. Direct connection between the epithelium and other tissue is not there, so a junction will be formed in between them, and that junctions are the tight junction, adhering junction, and gap junction. Now, what is this tight junctions? See, these junctions will stop the substances from leaking across a tissue. That is, it will not allow the substance to pass through. So in certain regions it forms tight junctions. In between the epithelium and other tissues, tight junctions are formed. So here the substances will be prevented from leaking outside or passing outside or in between the tissues. Okay, so it helps to stop substances from leaking across the tissue. Now next is the adhering junction. What is adhering junction? Adhering means attachment. Okay, so it forms a cementing structure to keep the neighbouring cells together, to attach with each other. Okay, so it forms, the intercellular materials will be forming a cementing substance that help to keep the neighbouring cells together, okay, close together. For that, this adhering junctions are used. The next is the gap junction. So what is this gap junction? Actually, this junction will help the cells to communicate with each other. Okay, how it will be communicating with each other? With the help of the cytoplasmic connections. Okay, a thin layer of cytoplasm will be connecting from one cell to the other cell. In between the nearby cells, the cytoplasm will be connected with each other, so that through that thin layer of cytoplasm, ions, rapid movement of ion can take place. Okay, ions can be transferred, or even small molecules can be transferred. Okay, sometimes even larger molecules can be transferred. So for that, this gap junction is used. Okay, so this is about the three types of junctions. Is it clear?